here almost every Friday, and I always can tell if I'm going to be able to get it. The way that my process works, not to bore you with what my work weeks are like when I'm not on this show, 3:28, I'll be to Missoula Broadcasting Company by 3:50, 10 minutes to settle in for the show, whatever. But my rule at Florence Coffee is 3 minutes per car. So if I'm coming in and I'm going right there at the kiosk right there on Palmer, if there's a car, one or less cars, and I'm coming in at 3:30, I can swing it. I can do it. Today I left downtown 3:32. I'm coming down Palmer, though. Nobody in the lane. The last couple times, there's been 5 people in the lane, and I've come here, and you're just so sad. It's like sad puppy because I know you need your Friday Joe.
Buddy, you know I'm a caffeine fiend.
You and our illustrious producer, Tommy Evans, are two of the great coffee and caffeine consumers I know.
Well, we are also both Beatle lovers. We are both big fans of audio engineering.
Truth.
We are both roguishly handsome and appropriately smart.
Man, you should be your own agent.
I just sold myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, it is a Friday. You can stay up late. So let Florence Coffee help you out. I got all sorts of stuff. I'm drinking an iced Americano, a little cream. Regime's got a little black Americano, straight.
Roll.
Thanks to Izzy for making these up for us. I told her to listen to the show, so maybe she is listening.
Izzy, not Izzy that used to go to Sentinel.
I have no idea. She just made our coffee. I said, thanks for the coffee. Appreciate it.
All right.
Florence Coffee, no matter where you're at in the state of Montana, you can stay up late on a Friday night. There's a Florence Coffee Company near you. Thanks to them for keeping us all the way caffeinated here on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I was at the University of Montana men's basketball game. Oh, by the way, the first one in almost a month, 26 days to be exact, between Grizz home games. Wild. I usually get in the routine of going to Dahlberg Arena every Thursday, every Saturday when you're in my line of work because there's either the ladies' game or the guys' game. I haven't been down to Dahlberg in weeks, so it's good being down there. So we'll get things kicked off with some of the results from last night. 3 of the 4 Division I teams in Montana in action. The Lady Grizz off their game against Idaho Thursday, canceled because of COVID, or postponed, I should say, because of COVID issues in the Idaho program. But then Montana's game at Eastern on Saturday postponed because of issues with COVID in the Montana program. So COVID going around the Big Sky Conference, but the MSU women played on the road last night in Cheney. Montana State hosted Eastern in men's basketball in Bozeman, and Montana was at home. So the Grizz, an 81-62 win over Idaho. Momentarily, we'll hear from Josh Bannon, sophomore power forward, who's he's transforming into one of the best players in the Big Sky Conference, and if he can maintain that, that's a big thing for the Grizz. We're also going to talk a little Baseball Hall of Fame, because I'd like to get Rajim's perspective on Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, because I think it's going to be sort of similar to mine. And then, of course, we're going to talk all things NFL playoffs. About 20 minutes from now, this is also very fun. That's another reason I was sort of running around today. I was trying to get a hold of my main man, Colt Anderson, one of my good friends from my time here at the University of Montana when he was an All-American safety. We played every sport against each other in high school and then got to know each other well in college. And he then spent 9 years in the National Football League. And now he's the assistant special teams coach on Zach Taylor's staff for the Cincinnati Bengals. So Colt gave us a little update on what's going on in Cincy. He also has some thoughts about the new favorite son of the mining city. Colt, of course, from Butte, America. But he knows Tommy Malott, and he knows he's sharing the spotlight when it comes to Butte's favorite athlete right now. And that's okay with him. So we'll catch up with Colt here just a little while. Also continue to give you previews of what's going to be an outstanding championship Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs host those Cincinnati Bengals in the first championship game, and then the NFC championship game, the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Winners go to the Super Bowl. We're also going to talk some high school hoops. A couple of the reservation teams this year are absolutely lighting it up, and it is incredible to watch. This is like must-see box score for me. I'm looking in the paper and on 406 MT Sports every day for Lodgegrass and Lame Deer, because these two teams are both averaging 90-plus points per game. I mean, Journey Emerson has dropped 40-plus 3 times this year already, and Damon Grovant from Lodgegrass is one of the most prolific scorers in the state, too, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But it's always fun when the teams from the reservations are running and gunning like they're prone to do.
Well, I think it just goes to show you it's just a different style of basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's entertaining. It's hard to defend. It's hard to game plan around. And I like seeing the different philosophies and psychologies of the games go head-to-head, especially at that level.
A little change up for you as well. We teased this yesterday, but we're making it happen today. And Rajim actually doesn't really know this yet. Our good friend Carolyn and I always record on Thursdays, and we've been playing the Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports for you on Thursdays. But because of the schedules for basketball season, and because our great friend Krista Redpath is now co-hosting with me for the first hour of each Thursday show, we're moving Carolyn to Fridays. That said, my main guy, Rajim, I love to have him have as much time to rap on the mic as he possibly can. So we're going to work out a scenario. I want to have a way that me and Rajim can both do a segment with Carolyn at the same time, because I think we'd have a whole hell of a lot of fun.
I love her.
She's hilarious.
Well, not only is she hilarious, but she's also ridiculously smart and tactful and full of grace. It just adds a different energy to whatever room she's in or outside the RV. I would love to have that trifecta come into fruition. For sure. But regardless, you can always hear the Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports on Fridays here on Nuanez now. So we'll have that for you top of the hour, about 5 o'clock. And then, why wouldn't we? We're just going to keep talking NFL, man, because that's what it is. It's the best time of the year. It's the biggest games of the year. So we're excited and excited to get to it here on a Friday. Yes, sir.
Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television. You want to listen to the show, stream the show any way on your mobile device, your cell phone, computer, tablet, whatever. Head on over to our station website, 1029ESPN.com. Click on the Listen Live tab, and you'll find the stream. You want to be a part of the show, you can also do that. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Remember it for two different reasons. We got Grizz hockey tickets. I got the go-ahead from my main guy, Tucker Sargent. I said, how many do you want to give away? He said, I don't know. He said, however the flow of the show goes. So I'm going to decide throughout this, but we're going to give you at least 8 Grizz hockey tickets tonight. The University of Montana hockey team hosts University of Providence tonight. Here's another thing. Tuck and I were talking about this. Sports fans are very predictable when it comes to brand name recognition. In other words, if Montana hockey is hosting Montana State hockey, people are like, oh, Cat Grizz, we're going. Easy. Doesn't matter. We don't care if the Cats are good, bad, whatever. We're going. Idaho, Eastern Washington, other the teams that the Grizz hockey team play, they recognize those names. Yeah. Well, you might think University of Providence. Okay, small school up in Great Falls, an NAIA school in most sports. Here's the thing, though. It's a private school. So the University of Providence, even though they're at the quote-unquote club level, can recruit fully because they can offer full-ride scholarships based on tuition waivers. University of Providence is one of the 3 or 4 best club teams in the United States of America. So if you're thinking that the ticket maybe isn't a hot ticket tonight, no. This is the last Grizz hockey home game for the season, and this is the best team the Grizz will play this year. So we got at least 2 4-packs of tickets to the Glacier Ice Rink for you. So stay tuned for that. 406-888-1029 is how you're going to get a hold of us here at Nuanez Now.
Of course, makes me want to go. I'm not even a hockey dude, and just the way you sold it,
you gotta go.
It makes me want to go.
You got to go, man.
I like good competition.
Oh, it's fun, man. It's really fun, and the spectacle is great. They're doing an awesome job. Tuck is killing it. With the marketing and all that stuff. So it's been fun to be a part of. Of course, you can also hear the game, Grizz hockey, tonight right here on 102.9 ESPN radio as well.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk some hoops first and foremost. We are coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport studio here in Missoula. Northwest Motorsport, this is the last day of their anniversary sale. They got huge discounts on their lot, which is at the corner of Stevens and Mount here in Missoula. You can also check out the largest inventory of trucks anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, nwmsrocks.com. That's nwmsrocks.com. Check out Northwest Motorsports. Huge inventory and huge discounts for their annual anniversary sale. Last night at Dullberg Arena, the Montana men I thought looked as good offensively as they have since they pounded Eastern Washington and Cheney about 6 weeks ago. I thought that the Grizz got up and down. I thought they executed pretty darn well. That's all to say, though, the Grizz are certainly building momentum and sort of starting to take form. They've won 6 out of 7 after last night's 81-62 victory over Idaho. That said, and we're going to get into this in a minute, but my God, what happened to the Idaho Vandals? That was a proud program for decades, but even when they rejoined the Big Sky, the football has been sad, but that's a little bit more predictable because you drop down from FBS. There's a lot of bad attitudes going around the program. When Idaho came back in the Big Sky, as a non-football member back in 2014, they were exceptionally good in men's and women's basketball, and women remain good, except for this year they're sort of struggling, but there's a lot that goes into why. That's here nor there, though. The men's basketball program has fallen off a cliff. I could not believe what I watched last night. They have no talent. Idaho has no talent. They didn't have another coach besides Zach Claus in a suit. I don't even know if they brought an assistant coach to the game. Their bench had 4 players on it. They only brought 9 guys. I was just like blown away when I watched. I mean, it was a good effort by Montana, but the Grizzlies did whatever they wanted. They didn't even really shoot the ball that well. They were 5 of 20 from 3, yet they still scored 81 points and just had their way with the Vandals.
I was kind of watching the game from afar, Colter, and when I looked at the bench, I thought there was like an intermission or a stoppage of play,
right? Or
like an injury had happened because of the lack of bodies on the seats, in the seats. And I was just like, there's got to be something wrong. And then I was like, no, the game is actually going. That was just a timeout. And it really looked like the Grizz were playing a junior college last night.
Crazy, because Idaho was Montana's among, if not biggest, opponents in the way to their Big Sky title hopes during the 2-year run that Montana had when they went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. So to see Idaho go from basically the second best team in the league to now not close, the worst team I've seen. I mean, they already lost to Idaho State. Idaho State was the other worst team that I've seen in the league. So it's sort of perplexing, sort of crazy to see how far the Vandals have fallen. All that said, though, the Grizz have now won 10 in a row at home. Travis DeCuire has made a huge emphasis on that, and Montana's certainly stepping up to the plate and taking great pride at playing at Dahlberg Arena. We had Josh Bannon, sophomore power forward for the Grizzlies, on the show as our Grizz Star of the Week on Wednesday. Well, he went 18-9 last night. 18 points, 9 rebounds for the Big Aussie. He is certainly becoming one of the best players in the Big Sky Conference. He's absolutely one of the best front court players in the Big Sky Conference. He's tough. He plays with a great motor, and his skill is definitely coming along. We caught up with Josh just for a couple minutes following Montana's 81-62 victory over the University of Idaho last night in Missoula. Second time in a week with Josh Bannon. He was our Grizz Star of the Week earlier this week, and he was the player of the game in this one, 18-9, as he helps lead Montana with an 81-62 victory over Idaho. Must be good luck coming on ESPN Radio, huh?
Apparently so. You should have me on every week.
Gotta love it. Well, you guys were in control of this game. It was 30-16, and you guys, it seemed like you were in full control of it, and then Idaho goes on a run right before half. What did you guys adjust at halftime? I'm sure Coach DeCuire probably wasn't too happy at halftime.
Yeah, I think there was just a patch there. We were playing a bit soft, not as physical and as aggressive on defense as we needed to be. And that's been something, like, obviously we're priding ourselves on our defense right now, and when we give up 10 points in the space of 3-4 minutes, that's a problem. So it was really just talking about making adjustments on the defensive end and getting out in transition.
You guys have had stretches where you haven't been able to score. Today, that didn't really happen, though. You guys were pretty fluid from the entire game. What was going right? What was so good with the offensive execution today?
I think we just do a good job of moving the ball. I think just get the ball getting through multiple hands. We got a lot of guys who can score at a very good rate. So it's just a matter of putting guys in the positions they're best in and then letting them work from there.
One guy that has provided a pretty good spark in conference, especially when you guys are at home, has been Lionel Martin. What do you think of his play so far?
That's my guy. I love Linnell. He's been, the adjustment has sort of taken him a little bit longer. He'll admit that himself. He sort of had a little bit of a rough stretch shooting the ball, but the one thing you can always count on him for is he's a great teammate. He's always going to bring energy to practice and enthusiasm, and he really brings it for us. And then as he's starting to get back to being him, shooting the ball better all round, it's really good for us.
And a guy that can rebound like that off the wing too, I mean, that's a pretty big advantage. I mean, how much does that help ease the load when you have a guard that can rebound like him?
Yeah, he did a really good job tonight. I think he snagged up 8 boards, which is awesome. If we can team rebound, that's going to be really good for us in the future.
And Brandon Whitney, I mean, he's been so good on ball, but I mean, he straight shut Mikey Dixon down today. So what'd you think of that effort?
Yeah, it's awesome. He's a phenomenal basketball player and an elite defender. I think it's pretty difficult he's the best defender in this league, if you ask me. He just every week the opposing guy they have an off night. It's just how it works when Brandon's guarding you. He did a phenomenal job tonight, as he always does.
Eastern Washington here Saturday night. What are your thoughts on the Eagles coming to town?
Exciting. One game at a time. It was good to get tonight done. Super excited for Saturday. We'll get in here, practice tomorrow, and just look forward to that, working towards it, hope getting another win.
So there you go, Josh Bannon, following Montana's 81-62 victory over Idaho. on Thursday night. The Grizz host Eastern Washington Saturday night. Nuanez now ESPN Radio as well as SWX Montana Television. Those Eastern Washington Eagles, they hung tough in Bozeman last night. They played great defense, held the Bobcats to about 32% shooting, but that didn't matter. MSU has proven they can win in a bunch of different ways, and they've proven they can win in bunches. And it's been a minute since Montana State has had a streak like they've had going right now. They beat Eastern last night 69-65. That's 10 out of 11 for the Bobcats. So they are rolling right now. MSU's won 6 straight overall and 10 out of the last 11. They're 7-2 in league. So Montana State sit there right now, half a game ahead of Southern Utah in the win column in the Big Sky standings and behind Weber State, who moved to 8-1 last night in league play. So Montana State 7-2, a game behind Weber State in the Big Sky Conference men's basketball race. The only women's game for the Big Sky Conference Montana teams, Montana State went to Cheney 65-55. The Bobcat ladies win as well. So the MSU women, that's 5 wins in 10 days. Unbelievably impressive for Tricia Binford's squad and the fortitude that they've shown. We're going to come back around actually to this conversation about the Baseball Hall of Fame. I also want to talk a little bit about J.R. Smith and his dabbling in college athletics after he's already a retired NBA player. Gotta love it. But first, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL playoffs. Colt Anderson, longtime NFL player, All-American safety from the University of Montana, and now assistant special teams coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. He will join us coming up. We'll probably play that for you. Oh, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes. I don't know. Just keep it right here. What are you going to do? Why are you changing the channel? Where else are you going to get 30 minutes of continuous radio anywhere in Missoula? Nowhere. This is the only spot. Keep it right here. Colt Anderson coming up in a minute. But first, Rajim, it's funny because it's great seeing you once a week.
Yes, sir.
But when it's been, by the time Friday rolls around each week, it's been so long since the NFL playoff game, so I don't ever get your immediate reactions. But last Saturday and Sunday, one of the best weekends of NFL football I've ever seen. What did you think of all the games?
I just want to go, what does WHAAAAAAT spell? What? That's all I could think of last week was just that Kansas City Chief game. Like, if you moved, you missed 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Like, if you moved, you were the loneliest person on this planet. By far, the best playoff game I've ever watched. And I've watched a lot of them.
Yep.
Top 5 playoff game of all time. What we want to see and what we're going to see for many years to come.
Isn't that the truth? I was watching with my 5-year-old nephew.
Yep.
And he's starting to learn the players and sort of get what's going on.
Yes.
And he really likes Patrick Mahomes. He really likes Josh Allen. So when the game started, he's like, Uncle Coco, I don't know who to go for. And I was like, hey, buddy, just follow your heart. But also, you don't have to go for anybody. You can just watch the game and you can be happy for whoever wins and whoever doesn't win. And he's like, that's what I'm going to do. But then when it was coming down to it, he's like, I want the Chiefs to win. I was like, hey, cool, man.
Because he's smart.
But then I was telling him, I was like, Ellis, the craziest part is that you're going to be watching these same 2 dudes battle it out for the AFC title until you're like 20. This is going to last forever. I mean,
absolutely.
We're a decade plus of I mean, think about the AFC moving forward. You got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert, all under the age of 25.
Sick.
Unbelievable to think about those guys dueling it out for the AFC titles for the next decade plus.
And then you got the young up and coming upstart who I think at the end of it is going to have a great career. The heir apparent to Tom Brady up there in New England. Can't forget about him.
For sure, Mac Jones, absolutely.
Mac Jones, and then you still got you got Jackson there. Like the AFC is loaded with quarterback talent.
No question. I mean, and then there's the couple of young guys that could figure it out on the other side, too. I mean, Kyler Murray was terrible down the stretch. It was terrible in their playoff game. But that's not to say, like, the jury is out on him. You give Kyler Murray every chance in the world because he's one of the great athletes on the earth.
Oh, period. Little road running back there.
So it's going to be fun to see the way that it all evolves because we are sort of on the precipice of this new generation of quarterbacks.
Boy, so good.
It'll be fun to watch. One of the most fun quarterbacks in the National Football League, though, former Heisman Trophy winner, former number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow. Kid is lighting it the last 6 weeks. And it's funny because the Niners march into Lambeau and they win on a last-second field goal. And, of course, our great leader here at Missoula Broadcasting Company
lost her mind.
She's losing her mind. She has lost her mind. She told me I don't have the will to live anymore. I was like, stop it. It's not that serious. She's like, you don't understand what it's like being from Wisconsin. She's like, this is serious. I was like, Becky, come on. It's all good. But that game sort of set the tone, stole the stage on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the almost comeback by Tom Brady, but the defending Super Bowl champs get knocked out because of my boy Cooper Kupp down the stretch, and the Rams pull out an unlikely instant classic, and then all of a sudden one of the great games that we've seen in the 21st century between the Chiefs and the Bills. All of that overshadowed the fact that, holy cow, the Cincinnati Bengals are in the AFC Championship game for the first time since before I was born. What a run by Cincinnati. What have you thought of this run that the Bengals have been able to mount?
Well, it's funny because I was watching that game with my son, and the first thing I said was, man, I can't wait to be the Bengals next year on Madden. And what that segues to is they are so nice. And like the average, I was reading an article the other day, I think their team average age is something like 24.
Totally, yeah, they're very young. No question.
I mean, across the board. And the way in which they don't play like young guys. Like they play like cagey veterans. The body control, the if you watch that offense, that is not a poor man simplistic offense. Like these are dudes who are not only athletes, but they're smart athletes
for sure.
And Joe Burrow is right there sitting in the chair like Captain Kirk at the helm, doing what he needs to do.
Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Rajim Seabrook in studio with me, Colter Nuanez, coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. A guy that a lot of people around Montana know very well. One of Montana's favorite exports, Colt Anderson, the Butte Missile. One of the great players in the history of the University of Montana. A guy who played a 9-year NFL career, was a multiple-time Pro Bowler as a special teamer, widely considered one of the best special teams players in the NFL during his career. Now he's an assistant special teams coach on Zach Taylor's staff in Cincinnati. Great pleasure talking to my good friend earlier today. Well, happy Friday, everybody, and happy now to welcome in one of my good friends, a guy who's joined us on this show many times, but the first time he's joined us since he became an NFL assistant coach. It's Colt Anderson, 9-year NFL vet, as well as former All-American safety for the Grizz. Colt, my man, thanks so much for joining us. Coming from Cincy, that's pretty cool. How you living? How's life?
Colter, always great talking to you. Always great being on here. Life's been good. It's fun right now. Exciting times here in Cincinnati. We've been winning a few games as of late. We got into the playoffs, won our division. We got after the Raiders first round, upset the Titans last week, and right now we're just preparing to head out and take care of business. We got a big opportunity, big challenge ahead of us with the Chiefs, but things are good. And come Sunday, we just have to go 1-0 on Sunday, and that's what we're shooting for.
We're going to get into all the NFL stuff, but first and foremost, I've actually been thinking about you secondarily, both because of watching the playoffs, but also just throughout the month, because covering the FCS playoffs, covering Montana State on their run, I thought about Butte all the time, because Tommy Mellott kind of took the state of Montana by storm, and you've been the favorite son of Butte for a minute, man, and I think you got some company now with this kid. So I know he's a Bobcat, you're a Grizz, but pretty cool. A kid from Butte, Montana led Montana State all the way to the chipper.
That was an awesome run that my buddy Tommy went on. I was fortunate. So I got in. I volunteered at Butte High for a year, and it just so happened that Tommy was the starting quarterback, and got him on defense a couple snaps a game. The kid's just a baller. He's a special football player, and everyone says it, and it's cliche to say sometimes, but he's an even better person. But it just holds so true to him, valedictorian. During my time when I was playing, I had to go and work out up at Butte High, and I mean, talk about first in, last out. That was him the whole time, and he just pushed everyone around him. And I know he's rubbed off on the guys at Montana State. They see the same guy that I saw when I was even playing in the NFL. He's a special talent, special kid. Even though I was a Grizz, it's hard to admit, but I was rooting for Tommy Mellott.
Oh, for sure, man.
That's I don't know if that's legal for me to say, but I was. He's a hard kid not to root for.
Oh, absolutely. And and that's the thing. As Montanans, as we both are, one of the coolest moments was after the semifinal game when Montana State beat South Dakota State, and you got Tommy Mellott and Troy Anderson sitting up there doing the post-game press conference, and you're thinking, man, seriously, two of the best football players in the whole country are from 60 miles apart, small town Montana. That's just what makes Montana so great.
It's pretty neat. I told a few of our scouts about Troy. My dad, he's a basketball official, and
right.
In the off season, I'd go home and watch, some of the tournaments, and just so happened the Class A basketball tournament was in Butte. And my dad was officiating it, and so I go check out Dylan, and Terry Thomas always did a good job there, so I got to see Terry. And my dad was working this Dylan Beavers game, and I'm no kidding. Heard about this Anderson kid going to the Cats, and after watching him play a game of basketball, I was very disappointed that he wasn't a Grizz. And he was like running the show. He was at the top of the key. There's like one dribble and he goes up and dunked at what seemed like it was the free throw line. But what a special talent he is too. Just a freak athlete. Obviously, being able to be whatever it was, All-American, all conference at multiple positions is unbelievable. And his ceiling is just so high right now.
Colt Anderson joining us, former University of Montana All-American safety, 9-year NFL vet, and now coaching for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals in the AFC Championship game Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Colt, last question for you before we get into the NFL stuff. It's sort of a crossover, but like you just mentioned, every guy you just mentioned, Torrey and Tyler Thomas, and Troy Anderson, Tommy Millott, yourself, all these guys, we're talking about them playing basketball. And I think about this all the time. Montana guys, so often we play 3 sports. And I feel like it caters to then your athleticism and your potential in the future. So now that you're a coach, do you see that? I mean, do you guys look when you're scouting players for guys that have athleticism in multiple different areas?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, at this level, the athleticism's there, and it's different from college where you're trying to find that rare athlete. So I think a lot of guys that have played in the NFL were multi-sport guys, and that's you talk to a lot of college scouts, college coaches. Those are the guys they're looking for, and so I got kids 9, 10, 4, and I'm trying to get them in as many sports as they can be in.
Colt Anderson, All-American safety for the University of Montana, longtime NFL vet, as well as a assistant coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, joining us here on Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television. Let's talk about this playoff run. You guys showed flashes through the first 10 or 12 weeks as the Bengals of what you could do. A couple amazing wins over the Baltimore Ravens. There were sort of statements, but now it seems like Cincinnati definitely hit their groove. You got one of the best and most fun to watch young quarterbacks in the National Football League in Joe Burrow. He's rolling. Seems like you guys are playing for him. You guys are balling on defense. What's this run been like? I mean, what's it been like to be a part of such a special run for the Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's been fun to be a part of it, and coming to work every day has been a joy. The players play for one another, the coaches coach for one another, and it's a special connection we have. And I think about my time at Montana. When we were there, it was you just had a feeling that you were going to win, and you put in the hard work and you trusted the guy next to you. Good things were going to happen, and that's kind of the feeling we have here. Is just the trust levels on point. Guys are going to bust their tail. They're going to work hard for the guy next to them, and everyone's going to do their job. And you get those things dialed in, and you're going to be a dangerous team. And obviously, like you said, we got Joe Burrow who's playing real well. Just his mindset, his ability is top notch, and got to keep him rolling. Got to keep everyone rolling, really. But it's been fun.
Last thing for you, then, you guys go to the belly of the beast. Go to Arrowhead Stadium, one of the great venues in all of football. Patrick Mahomes awaits you and the Kansas City Chiefs. 4 straight AFC title game in Kansas City. The road has gone through KC since Mahomes has risen like he has. What do you think of this challenge? This must be pretty cool for you to have a first-hand view and kind of have a hand in going against a kid who's already one of the all-time greats.
He's a special talent. I mean, you watch what he was able to do last week with, that game against Buffalo Bills. Him and Josh Allen put on a show. You give him 13 seconds, and it's pretty unbelievable what he and their offense can do. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I still have a bunch of connections there on staff. I played under Andy for a couple of years. One of my good friends, Mike Kafka's the quarterback coach, and several other guys on the team I'm familiar with. So it's going to be a great challenge, and everyone's just got to do their job, trust the guy next to them, and like I think what you call it, the belly of the beast, that Arrowhead Stadium, that place gets rolling, and yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good challenge.
Well, best of luck, my man. Very cool for you, for the state of Montana, for the city of Butte, and very cool for us as well. We appreciate you taking some time today. Colt Anderson, former University of Montana All-American, as well as longtime NFL player, now assistant coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals take on the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, AFC Championship game. Colt, true pleasure, man. Thanks so much for making some time.
All right, Colter. My pleasure, Colter. Take care, bud.
Yeah, I love it, man. One of the best guys I know, man. Also, a character in one of my favorite stories. When Colt was first playing in Minneapolis, 2 of my other really good friends moved out to Minneapolis to both get their MBAs at the University of Minnesota. So when Colt was playing for the Vikings, we all went out one night, and we ended up hanging out with a couple of his teammates, but then we left that party because we wanted to just go to a dive bar or whatever because we're all Montana guys. We're walking down the street. We're hanging out with some girls, say what's up, and these girls are talking to us. They're like, what do you do? My buddy's like, oh, I'm just going to school and get my MBA here in Minnesota. What do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a sports writer. They look at Colt. They say, what do you do? He goes, I play for the Vikings. She goes, you don't got to lie to me, Tarzan. Because he had his
long, crazy hair.
He had the long hair. And I mean, Colt's 5'9". I mean, he's strapped. He's 200 pounds, but like he's 5'9". It was just so funny because they were like, you don't play for the Vikings. He's like, I'm not lying to you. I'm not just lying to you to try to get you. Like, in fact, I'm married, and also I play for the Vikings. I really do. And these girls are like, you guys are full of it. It's so funny. I always tease them about that.
That's a good story,
It's a good story, man. Those guys are it was fun when he was out there in Minneapolis, a little more accessible than when he was in Philly and Buffalo. But a great career by him, and true pleasure having him here on ESPN Radio. More NFL playoffs, plus what does Rajim think of Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not in one of America's greatest museums? Keep it right here. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio.
Worried that your furnace might not make it through a tough winter? Don't get caught out in the cold this winter. For a limited time, buy one, get one at Garden City Plumbing and Heating. With 2 amazing offers available, you could receive a free furnace or a free whole home air purification system. These offers are available through the month of February, so take advantage of this promotion before it's too late. To learn more, call a Garden City Comfort consultant at 728-5550.
Grizz hockey is back this Friday against the University of Providence. This will be the final home game of the year, and the team will need your support as they make their final push for playoffs. Help send off the Grizz with one final party at the Glacier Ice Rink and let the visiting team know that Montana has the best fans in college hockey. Free shuttle for students picking up at Miller Hall. Beer and seltzer sold at the game. The last Grizz hockey game of the season this Friday at 7:30 p.m.
Plenty of tickets for tonight's game. Available at Hockey Wolf on Brooks and at the Glacier Ice Rink before the game. Puck drops at 7:30. See you there.
Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from Nuanez Now, here with Brent Wahlberg of the Wahlberg team at Windermere Real Estate. It's a complicated real estate market right now. What do you think is the biggest challenge?
This is a real tough market for buyers because what we have right now is an unprecedented lack of available options, low supply. You have to be extra competitive. You've got to make your first offer your strongest offer. Experts like myself in this market can really help people do that.
Call Brent Wahlberg and the Wahlberg team at 529-4663 today. Part of the glory of building a business comes from leaving a legacy to ensure your business continues thriving into the future. Have you asked yourself lately, what is your plan? Forming a personalized business succession plan is essential to know the passion you put into your business will carry on. Nick Tabor at Westpac Wealth is here to help you navigate all your business succession and retirement planning needs. Give Nick a call at 728-6699 and keep the spirit of possibility vibrant while making your future more tax efficient with a personalized business succession and retirement plan for you. Hey, what's up, Montana? Colter Nuanez from Nuanez Now, your favorite daily sports talk show. I know a great many of you listen to the show during the evening drive time between 4 and 6 p.m. right here on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. But sometimes you might not get to listen to the whole thing. Or other times you might not get to listen at all. But that's okay. We got you covered. We podcast each hour of each show. Each and every weekday, you can always find Nuanez Now in its totality on all your favorite podcast hosting platforms. The Nuanez Now podcast is proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana and The Advocates.
Last week on the ESPN Roundtable, Missoula native and Winter X Games gold medalist Quinn Wolferman.
Yeah, it was surreal, and it didn't really kick in for a moment. Yeah, like you said, I was kind of dumbfounded, and then my brother kind of grabbed me and was screaming in my ear, and I think he was a little more excited than I was. So, yeah, that's when it all kind of started to hit me a little bit.
Tune in to the ESPN Roundtable every Wednesday in the 5 o'clock hour on Nuanez Now. The ESPN Roundtable is brought to you by Paradise Falls.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Treasure State's Big Sky Conference basketball team stayed red hot on Thursday night. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. In the first Montana men's basketball game in Missoula since January 1st, the Grizz pounded Idaho 81-62. Sophomore Josh Bannon scored 18 points and grabbed 9 rebounds to boost UM to its 10th home victory in a row this season and 12th straight home win overall, dating back to last year. Montana's now 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 14-6 overall, and have won 6 of their last 7 games. UM hosts Eastern Washington on Saturday in Missoula. Tip-off at 7 p.m. In Bozeman, Montana State continued its torrid tear, cutting out a 69-65 win over Eastern Washington. Jabril Bello had 15 points and 10 rebounds as MSU won for the 10th time in 11 outings and moved to 7-2 in Big Sky play, 15-5 overall. MSU has now won 6 games in a row, with Idaho coming to town. Saturday's action tips at 4 p.m. from Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Cheney, Montana State point guard Darian White scored 17 points and ripped 6 steals to help MSU roll to a 65-55 win over Eastern. The victory is MSU's 5th in the last 10 days and moves the Bobcat women to 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 11-8 overall. And finally, the Montana Lady Grizz are off this weekend. UM's game scheduled for Thursday at Idaho was postponed because of COVID issues in the Vandal program. And Saturday's contest in Cheney was also called off because of COVID issues with the Lady Grizz.
This 102.9 ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
I had such a great afternoon because it was filled with memes of the Chappelle Show, because my main man Rajim, he had me rolling all afternoon, and he had me rolling out during the last break too. This guy's got the best Dave Chappelle impression you ever heard. Hilarious. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television. I told you we're going to funk it up. What's funkier than Rick James? Nothing. Gotta love it. Hope you're having a great Friday. Hope you had a great week. Rajim Seabrook in studio with me, Colter Nuanez, talking to you all the way around the world of sports. What's the hot ticket in town tonight? Well, it's the hottest ticket in town for the last couple months. The University of Montana hockey team, they host the University of Providence, their final home game of the season. It's flown by. It's been unbelievable, honestly, to watch the popularity of Grizz hockey in their first season and just how much it's grown and what it's become, and just how much the Missoula communities love this, and how much our good buddy Tucker Sargent has had a hand in. And it's not just him. He's got a great team, and the way that they have made this thing happen has been awesome. So we appreciate everybody out there for listening. We've carried the games all year long. We'll continue to do that into the future. Our main guy, Jeff Safford, voice of the Missoula Paddleheads, he's also now going to be the voice of Grizz Lacrosse and Grizz Hockey as well. So very much looking forward to have Jeff on the call pretty much all the way around the year. You're going to have Jeff on your calls all summer long with the Paddleheads, and then into the spring and into the winter with both Grizz Hockey and Grizz Lacrosse. So that'll be very fun. I'm going to the game tonight as well. Do you want to go to the game? I know you do. Call us right now, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Caller number 2, I got a 4-pack of tickets for you to the Grizz hockey game against the University of Providence. Call us right now, 406-888-1029. Caller number 2. We'll just get your name. We'll write them right on the tickets, and I'm going to take them down the Glacier Ice Rink. We'll have them for you right there at the door. Boom, you'll be all set. 4-pack of tickets to the Grizz hockey game. Call us right now.
What time is that game again?
7:30.
Ooh, you know, I might. My son has a basketball game. You entice me with that. The way you build it, bro.
Hey, man, it's a spectacle, too.
And I'm going to be right there over by Washington Middle School. I can dip across the fields real quick. Trip and bust my lip and slide on into the game.
Okay.
Maybe, brother. We should talk.
We might have a hookup for you. I know.
Like
I know a few people.
You know a lot of people.
Let's talk a little baseball. I don't know if you know this about me, actually. You might. I think you probably do. My first love in sports was baseball.
Mine too.
I've sort of built my career around covering football and basketball.
Yeah.
But baseball was my best sport growing up.
Mine as well.
Definitely the thing that I follow. I mean, I was so into baseball cards, baseball video games, playing baseball all the time. I mean, we were sort of wired the same in our sort of love of collectibles and statistics and things. But I sort of had to get divorced from baseball for a while.
Me too.
When Game of Shadows came out, because Barry Bonds is one of my favorite players of my whole life. And I read Game of Shadows basically cover to cover in a weekend and was like basically depressed because I was like, well, that's cool. Everything I ever loved is a lie. So, all that said, even with the Balco scandal, Victor Conti, federal indictments, all these things, Barry Bonds is still one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And even if you believe that he doped for the whole last 8 or 9 years of his career, I still think he was a Hall of Famer before he ever took any dope. So you can eliminate all those statistics, and I think he still deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, this week, Barry Bonds, his last year of eligibility on the Hall of Fame ballot, not voted in. I think it's a tenuous situation for a lot of different reasons, not just the specific nature of Bonds and his poor behavior, but also just because of the status of the Baseball Hall of Fame as a true museum. I've made my point on this show already, though. I'll hash this out with you a little bit, but what do you think of this? I guess the question is, should Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and other people of that ilk be in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I liken it to this, Coulter. I like what you said about him being an HOFer, Hall of Famer for those at home. Before using the steroids, he was well on his way. I think what you do is, much like the NFL with the extra game season, is you kind of put an asterisk next to certain things. Give the man his credit where it's due, but denote that from this year going forward that there's a smudge on it. Like, we're going to give you your credit because you did what you needed to do, but you did it in a way that may not be on the up and up, but we're still going to give you your due.
I also think that the process is just so antiquated. Because, I mean, let's be honest.
Baseball overall, my friend.
Absolutely, but let's be honest. Like, there's a variety of guys. I mean, first of all, in my personal opinion, as somebody that's incredibly cynical, I think that most guys, for a formative period of baseball history took steroids.
Absolutely.
Almost every guy.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer or not.
Yeah.
There's a few guys that were allegedly clean. I do think that one point that I heard throughout this week of this discussion was a lot of the guys that were the most popular both internally and externally, it's not a coincidence that they were not on steroids because they had a lot of respect. I think that it's not a coincidence that Jeter was so well revered. I don't think Jeter was a steroid guy.
No.
Chipper Jones for the Braves. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. No. But now we're getting a slippery slope as far as insinuating who did and did not for the guys that weren't involved in investigations.
True, but I like where you're going, brother.
But the point is, though, there's a whole bunch of guys, though, that are also insinuated as steroid users that are in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz just got elected in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz is insinuated as a steroid user as well.
Yep.
What's the difference between David Ortiz and Barry Bonds?
I think the display and affect over the whole situation. Barry Bonds, much like Terrell Owens, regardless of what you've been accused for, if you're guilty or not guilty, how you carry yourself, your display and affect, and how that comes off of you is huge. And Barry Bonds was not a cool dude when it came to the media. Barry Bonds was not a...
I agree, but should that go into your Hall of Fame?
Buddy, I'm not saying that that's how I feel. I'm just saying in the world of sports,
totally,
when you got two turntables and a microphone in front of you, if you don't look a certain way or carry yourself a certain way, the media has an odd way of not letting you get your laurels down the road. And I think that's exactly what hurt him. It hurt him.
Well, it's directly applicable in baseball, too, though, because the Baseball Writers Association of America is who votes you in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
And that to me is almost a conflict of interest. I was going to bring that up and wait for a great segue point. How do you get to be judge, jury, and executioner?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many guys that were surly personalities or like embrace their roles as villains, and then therefore they don't get to be first ballot Hall of Famers. It's stupid to me.
Right.
Roberto Alomar was the greatest second baseman I ever saw in my life.
Period.
He had to wait like 7 years to get in because he's not a nice guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to advocate for bad behavior, but I also think one of the most appealing parts of baseball, which baseball has also lost, is the fact that baseball was one of, if not the greatest professional sport in terms of cultivating villains. And that's what made the story so good. Half of the most prominent baseball players of my childhood were villains.
Absolutely.
They were heels. They were hated. Manny Ramirez, Barry Bonds, Albert Bell, Roberto Alomar.
Hate them all.
They should all be first ballot Hall of Famers, though, because they could all straight rake. They were all some of the best players of their positions.
I get you, man, but it shows you how people's personal reactions to things have them respond to things differently. And notice I chose my words wisely. It's the reaction versus the response, and that's exactly where we are with baseball sports writing in the Hall of Fame.
Nuanez now ESPN Radio as well as SWX Montana Television. Coulter Nuanez, Rajim Seabrook coming to you from the Northwest Motorsports Studio. So we agree. So basically, I did the statistical breakdown of the show the other day. Barry Bonds hit 400-plus home runs and had 400-plus stolen bases before he ever took a steroid, right? So we agree that his career was Hall of Fame worthy before he ever cheated, right?
question.
But isn't the same true for Roger Clemens? Because Clemens won 7 Cy Youngs, and if you believe he started taking steroids the second half of his career, then he probably won 4 of those Cy Youngs post-juice. He still won 3.
He still won 3?
I mean, the Rocket of the mid to late 80s.
He was sick.
I mean,
he made me cry.
He was the only guy.
As a kid.
I mean, for sure, he's the only guy that could rival the legend of Nolan Ryan with his fastball in the way he could strike people out.
But you know how many times I saw him growing up and playing the Red Sox? Like, I cried because it was just
Yankees guy.
If Clemens was on that second-day rotation, and he made Ricky Henderson look foolish. I mean, just like some of the greats of the mid-'80s. Not feel you, man. I think based upon that, pre-steroid use, he's a Hall of Famer. Going forward, put an asterisk next to his name with a nice little needle mark, and we move on forward.
Nuanez now ESPN Radio as well as SWX Montana Television. One of the best basketball games in the state so far. It took place at the Billings Metro earlier this week. No AA teams involved. One of the best from Class A got taken down by one of the best in Class B. Lodgegrass Hardin was an awesome one, but we got a lot of great basketball teams, particularly those from Montana's Indian reservations that are unbelievable to watch. We'll break that down as part of our Prep Extra right after this. Keep it right here. It's Nuanez Now.
Giving back to the community is job one at the Eagles Lodge. Your friends at the Eagles want to sincerely thank Missoula for your continued support. When you stop by for lunch or dinner, or you're meeting friends to play trivia or sing karaoke, proceeds enable the Eagles Lodge to make generous donations to local fundraisers and charities like CASA and Big Brothers and Sisters. Come on by today. Everyone is welcome at the Eagles Lodge in Missoula on South Avenue right next to Rosars.
Is 2022 the year you're finally ready to step up your hair game? If you're not sure where to go, look no farther than Compass Barbershop, a modern barbershop for everyone, where they can help you find a style that's right for you. Offering precision scissor cuts and fades in a unique and inclusive atmosphere, Compass Barbershop has it all, including convenient online booking at compassbarber.com. Step up your hair game in 2022. Find your way to Compass Barbershop, downtown on the Hip Strip, at the corner of modern and retro.
Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway, and Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway, and Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway, and Miller today. Ryan, Holloway, and Miller, your Montana attorneys.
Montana brings a variety of reasons to get outdoors. Gear up at Bob Ward's Sports and Outdoors, Montana's largest sporting goods retailer. For over 105 years, Bob Ward's has been committed to providing outstanding customer service, merchandise selection, and value. Bob Ward's has every brand and everything you need to run, climb, hunt, hike, camp, fish, ski, paddle, everything you do outdoors. Open 7 days a week in Missoula, Bozeman, Butte, Helena, and Hamilton. Or online 24/7 at bobwards.com. Gear up at Bob Ward's, a Montana tradition of adventure since 1917.
The pageantry, the tradition, the competition, the communal aspect. It's what we love about sports. But there's also a stark reality. Sports and money go hand in hand. At Nuanez Now, every other Tuesday, we are proud to present a business angle with Justin Angle, a segment about the overlay of business and sports.
I think as far as products ever created, NFL football is perhaps one of the best products ever created. On par with the iPhones. And its ability to kind of transcend every other competitor in the category. The scarcity of games, the fact that they own Sundays, and then they own that place on the calendar. It's sacred. It's become the religion of sports fans and the religion of the country in many ways.
Tune in every other Tuesday during the 5 o'clock hour to Nuanez Now to hear Justin Angle, a University of Montana business professor, talk with me, Colter Nuanez, about all of the ins and outs of sports and business. A Business Angle is proudly presented by Blackfoot Communications.
1, 2, 3. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
I want to hold your hand, oh, if I can, just be a man. I want to be your friend, not now and then, but until the end. I just love the way you act, and that's a fact. I want to be your number one, so get to that.
What up, Montana? Welcome back. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Breaking it down, doing little dance moves in the studio. Rajim Seabrook in studio with me.
Yo.
Colter Nuanez, glad to have you here, man. Always fun hanging out with you on a Friday. Great ending to the week, always. We're coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport studio. Northwest Motorsport, just a couple days left on their anniversary sale. It ends at the end of this month. They have huge discounts on their lot, located here at the corner, in Missoula, at the corner of Stevens and Mount, as well as online at nwmsrocks.com. Check out the huge inventory and huge discounts now. Northwest Motorsport's anniversary sale. Let's talk a little high school hoops. Time for our Prep Extra, presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank has been enriching the lives of Montana since 1907. How about this? They got their awesome scholarship program going on right now. Attention high school seniors and your parents. Scholarship applications available now at farmersebank.com. They have 10 $10,000 scholarships that will be rewarded throughout the year. That's $100,000 that are going to go out to Montana high school graduates. You can review the qualifications and fill out an application today. FarmersEbank.com. Hurry up, though. The deadline just about 6 weeks away, March 15th. Farmers State Bank, Montana's bank since 1907, member FDIC. I was transfixed by the game earlier this week between Lodgegrass and Hardin. I was following it on Twitter, and then I was just captivated by the photos, not only because of just the quality of the pictures that were coming out of in the Billings Gazette, but also because of the background.
Yes.
The Billings Metro was packed. And this is becoming an annual thing where Hardin and Lodgegrass play in the Metro, and it's becoming much must-watch action. Hardin, which has been one of the perennial, recently, the last couple of years, one of the powers in Class A. They won a Class A title and played for 2 more. They actually fell to the best team in Class B right now. The Lodgegrass Indians are rolling. They light up the scoreboard. They're scoring in the mid to high 80s consistently, and they've flirted with 100 a couple times this year. And for those that have followed Native American basketball, which is one of my favorite things to follow in Montana, truly, probably the most influential entry point of my career as a sports writer comes from my favorite story that I've ever read, written by Gary Smith. Sports Illustrated, February 1991, the iconic cover of the Dream Team with Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, John Stockton, and David Robinson. Well, within that iconic Sports Illustrated issue is the famous story, Shadows of a Nation, by Gary Smith. Gary Smith, one of my sports writing idols, somebody I just think is one of the best that's ever done it and will ever do it. But Shadows of a Nation is the tale of Jonathan Take's enemy, who the great Crow basketball player from right outside of Hardin himself, a guy that was a prodigious talent, a guy that was an absolutely top-level Division I talent, but battled a lot of demons in his life and ended up going to a junior college and then going to a small school and never finished his college career. A D1 talent all the way that never could quite make it, but it's all about the dynamic of Native American basketball players in the state of Montana and why some of our best athletes have been Native hoopers who just have a hard time when they leave the communities that they come from. All that said, there is such great lineage and such great legend that exists in Native basketball in Montana. And anybody that follows it, one of the most famous names is Elvis Oldbull. And Elvis Oldbull passed away last year, but he is one of the great scoring guards in the history of the state of Montana, no matter where the background or the classification. He's one of the best players ever in Montana, one of the best athletes ever in Montana. Well, he's from Lodgegrass. Damon Grovant right now, who was the Class B state tournament MVP last year for Lodgegrass, who's now a senior, he's less than 100 points away from breaking Elvis Oldbull's record. If you understand Native American culture, particularly for the warrior tribes in Montana, and the way that sort of the anointment of becoming a man, the becoming a man ceremony that is almost now encompassed in basketball accomplishments, you understand what that accomplishment would be like for a guy to break Elvis Oldbull's record. It would be something that would echo throughout the storytelling of their people forever. And so very, very cool. But I'm also just so captivated by the fact that it's looking like a collision of titans. It's looking like Lame Deer and Lodgegrass, 2 reservation teams, are going to be on a collision course to meet in the Class B state championship. I hope it happens. Class B state championship this year is in Bozeman, by the way. But if if by chance Lame Deer and Lodge Grass can get there.
We should go.
And you have Damon Grovon versus Journey Emerson.
We should go.
I would love to go, man. I'm already committed, though. I'm going to be in Boise for the Big Sky Conference tournament, so I will likely be covering the Big Sky Conference Championship the night that the Class B Championship is at. But that said, I'm trying to put together some sort of team to go over there to cover it for us because I think that that'd be great, and you might be one of those guys.
I'll cover basketball.
I know you will, for
you know
sure.
What's up? I got you covered, son.
For sure. Guys, it's a great story. It's awesome because I think that so much of the identity of Native peoples in Montana now are steeped in their accomplishments on the basketball court. And I just think it's so fun to watch these teams play in these big venues. And I'm so glad those teams got the spotlight earlier this week. I just think it's so awesome. It's one of the greatest. It's filled with one of the most elements of mystique of anything that's in Montana, and I think it makes it so fun to follow. So I'm happy and proud of those teams and those players for what they're accomplishing right now.
I love the energy and the emotion that you're putting around this, especially because like when you read a lot of the Montana publications, teams like that, communities like that aren't really spoken of and have light shine on them outside of some of the issues that revolve in those communities. And for this to come at a great point in time, almost a heel off the years of the passing, and amidst some just downtimes in society because we're in a middle of a pandemic. What a great light, a beacon to look at, and also for the young ones coming up, like that record was broken. Sometimes that's what's the catalyst for that little 9-10-year-old boy or girl is like, I can do that too. So it's kind of a great passing of the torch, but at the same time, lighting of a new one from all the spectators, that, as you mentioned, like out at the Metro.
The line that stuck with me so much from Shadows of a Nation, which I've read probably 15 times in my life. I read it pretty much annually just to give myself a reminder of just how wonderful the writing is, but also just how poignant, but also how heartbreaking and filled with struggle that story is. But Gary Smith describes it. He says, Jonathan Take's enemy had a rubber band attached to his back that always drew him back to his people. And he analyzes both the good and the detrimental that exists in that. So we're up against it. We don't have much time left for hour number one. But you're a guy that's done so much social work and worked with young people and
yes, sir.
Psychologically and things
yes,
like
sir.
that. Native American culture is so wonderful, and I've had so
Beautiful.
many great Native American friends, and the familiar aspect of it, the true tribalism that exists because it's so authentic, is one of the best parts. But also it seems it makes it very hard for especially young men when they leave the reservations to be comfortable in a different role. And a lot of times when it comes to basketball, playing a completely different style of basketball as well. I mean, just sociologically, psychologically, why is that?
Well, because it's called, that's when you get into the clash of cultures, right? And
totally.
And it's one of the things I had to adapt to when I moved here.
Sure.
I'm from the East Coast.
Totally.
And we like running a lot of half-court set, pick and roll.
Yes,
out here,
right.
It's a lot of pick, pop, shoot,
right.
loose defense. Back east, it's you want to come through lane, you about to pay it on the toll.
Right.
And it's just a different culture. So I had to adapt my bang, slow down game to try to catch up. And then when you talk about the type of basketball that you're talking about, which is even faster, it's just so not recognized outside of the microcosms that they're in, which is a bigger issue and another conversation for another day. But overall, it's just there's been no extension of that elsewhere.
Sure.
And the fact that no one has looked at this brand of basketball, there's great opportunity to expound upon that and take it to another level is somewhat sad and disheartening.
Nuanez now ESPN Radio as well as SWX Montana Television. Hour one of the books, hour two coming at you. Our good friend Carolyn, she stopped by earlier this week, so we will present to you this week's Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. Also, the New York Football Giants got a new head coach. Raheem's still on the fence. We got 2 primetime showdowns on Sunday, and 2 of the best players in the NFL are also 2 of the most polarizing men in pro sports, and both of them knocked out of the playoffs. What's next for TB12 and A-Raj? We'll speculate a little bit for you, too. Why not? It's Friday. Keep it right here. Hour number 2 in Nuanez now coming at you. ESPN Radio. Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway, and Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway, and Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway, and Miller today. Ryan, Holloway, and Miller, your Montana attorneys.
What happened to the TV? Cable prices went through the roof. I had to dump the cable.
All you had to do was call Eagle Satellite at 406-728-9999 and get Dish TV for $57.99 and internet for $50.
Okay, I will. 406-728-9999. Can I get Dish TV for $57.99 and internet for $50? And it's installed free? Fantastic.
Call Eagle Satellite 728-9999.
Offer expires 4/13/22. Internet not a Dish product. Price does not include locals. Antenna optional.
Mount Jumbo, Rock Creek, the Kim Williams Trail, the Alberton Gorge, Mount Dean Stone, family-owned agricultural lands across western Montana. This year, Five Valleys Land Trust is celebrating 50 years of protecting and stewarding the wildlife habitat, trails, and open lands you love. Join us in our next half-century of conserving western Montana. Learn more, volunteer, and give at fvlt.org.
This message is brought to you by Rob Fleming and Man Mortgage, 704 West Sussex, Missoula.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
We know you have a lot of options when it comes to choosing a bank, but here's something to remember. Farmer State Bank has been helping Montana families succeed since 1907. Seriously, 1907. They're not some out-of-state mega bank. Farmer State Bank grew up right here. And whether you're looking for a personal loan, a mortgage, or a business loan, they're here for you. Approachable, experienced, local. Choose Farmer State Bank, an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Like most Montanans, we love a good steak. And because we're the Montana Club, we take the steaks we serve very seriously. We're confident to say that our custom grilled steaks are as good a steak as you're going to get. Now we're proud to add regularly sourced, naturally raised Castle Rock bison ribeye to our selection. And remember, the Montana Club steak entrees include the sides. Come into the Montana Club today for an unrivaled steak experience. The Montana Club on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Treasure State's Big Sky Conference basketball team stayed red hot on Thursday night. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. In the first Montana men's basketball game in Missoula since January 1st, the Grizz pounded Idaho 81-62. Sophomore Josh Bannon scored 18 points and grabbed 9 rebounds to boost UM to its 10th home victory in a row this season and 12th straight home win overall, dating back to last year. Montana's now 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 14-6 overall, and have won 6 of their last 7 games. UM hosts Eastern Washington on Saturday in Missoula, tip-off at 7 p.m. In Bozeman, Montana State continued its torrid tear, cutting out a 69-65 win over Eastern Washington. Jabril Bello had 15 points and 10 rebounds as MSU won for the 10th time in 11 outings and moved to 7-2 in Big Sky play, 15-5 overall. MSU has now won 6 games in a row, with Idaho coming to town. Saturday's action tips at 4 p.m. from Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Cheney, Montana State point guard Darian White scored 17 points and ripped 6 steals to help MSU roll to a 65-55 win over Eastern. The victory is MSU's 5th in the last 10 days and moves the Bobcat women to 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 11-8 overall. And finally, the Montana Lady Grizz are off this weekend. UM's game scheduled for Thursday at Idaho was postponed because of COVID issues in the Vandal program. Then Saturday's contest in Cheney was also called off because of COVID issues with the Lady Grizz.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Selway Armory.
Positive over negative for the woman, a master. Mother Queens rise in the chapter. Deja vu, tell you what I'm gonna do when they reminisce over you, my God. So lovely.
that out, baby.
Gotta love it. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. It's a funky Friday here on ESPN. Rajim Seabrook kicking it with me, taking you home here on your Friday. Hope you have great plans for the weekend. So I feel like time's flying right now. I mean, you're a dad, so I feel like it always feels like time's flying, right?
Here's the reason why. Several people have said time feels like it's flying.
Yeah.
I've lived in Missoula for 25 years.
Yeah.
That's 26 winters.
Yeah.
Right? Well, actually, it's the only season you get twice in 1 year, so that would be like 50
That's
winters.
crazy that you've lived in Missoula way longer than I have.
Well, hey, baby, you did it the most.
I also left for like 10 years almost.
Gotcha.
So.
Reason why is I have never seen this much sunlight in western Montana in a winter.
Last couple days for sure.
And well, just even in December, it was cold. But it was the sun is out, and when the sun is out and it's up later, time flies by.
It's true. Missed anything in the first hour of the show. We talked all the way around the world of sports. Grizz Hoops, they had their sixth win in 7 games over Idaho last night. Heard from Josh Bannon, rising star as a sophomore for the University of Montana men's basketball team. We also talked some NFL playoffs, including hearing from my good buddy and current NFL assistant coach, Colt Anderson. He's on the Cincinnati Bengals staff. And the Bengals into the belly of the beast. Arrowhead Stadium against Kansas City. That's going to be a heck of a game. We're going to talk a little bit more about that one a little later on. And then we also talk some Native American basketball players and some of the best small school hoops teams in boys basketball this year as part of our Prep Extra. You can find everything from the first hour of the show, as always, on the Nuanez Now podcast. Please rate, review, subscribe. 5 stars, definitely preferred.
Yes, sir.
Probably presented by Sportsbet Montana and the Advocates. You want to be a part of the show? You always can. And keep this in mind because about 20 minutes from now, we got 2 vouchers from the AC Hotel. Send you down there to get some brunch as well as, they're brunch vouchers, but brunch, what's brunch without mimosas? We got some, the full catering for you. So hit us up here in a little while, 888-1029. That's 406-888-1029. I'm going to check with my guy Tuck as well. We might have more Grizz hockey tickets for you, but there's rumors going around. It's sold out. It's not sold out. So if you want to go, head on down to the Glacier Ice Rink tonight, 7:30. Puck drops. University of Montana versus University of Providence, the last Grizz hockey home game for the inaugural season of the return of Grizz hockey. Switching it up on you, moving this to a Friday because we figured you love to party on Friday. Carolyn loves to party. She loves to bring the fun. The funniest part about this segment is you truly are the chick who doesn't know anything about sports. I was sitting there watching what was, by all accounts, among the most thrilling NFL playoff weekends in the history of the league last weekend. And on Saturday night, your boy, Aaron Rodgers, out. Walking off the field, crybaby. Whatever. Next day, Tom Brady, his lip is bleeding. He got the first personal foul of his career. He loses and is not the comeback kid for the first time in the history of his life. You didn't watch any of it. You don't even know this until I tell you right now. Both your guys out the playoffs.
I knew that.
That's good.
But only because you texted me on Sunday. I think I knew about Green Bay Saturday night because I was pretty excited. And then I didn't know anything about the other game. No, I didn't know anything. In fact, my brother texted me and said, I'm watching the Kansas game.
The Kansas game.
And
he's talking hoops, college basketball. He's the dude that doesn't know anything about sports.
And he goes, I'm watching the Kansas game. Wasn't mom born there? And then I said, well, she was born in Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas.
Oh, gosh.
And then I Googled it and was like, oh, Kansas City Chiefs are in Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right.
I didn't know that either.
What?
But now,
where did you think the Kansas City Chiefs were besides Kansas City, Missouri?
Kansas City, Kansas.
Oh, wow. Isn't Kansas City, Kansas like tiny?
I don't know.
Is it the same city? I don't even know.
No, it's not the same city.
There's 2 cities.
Yes.
There's 2 Kansas cities.
One's Kansas City, Missouri, and one's Kansas City, Kansas.
That is so confusing.
So now listen, my brother lives in
I used to know this. When I was like your kid's age, I would have been able to give you a full report on this. It's amazing how much you forget when you get old.
My brother lives in Michigan City, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So
Michigan City, Indiana. Okay.
I know. It's all weird. Anyway. How is my voice? I'm trying to change it to make it a little bit less nasally.
What do you mean? Your voice is fine.
I hate my voice, so I'm working on a new voice.
Oh my God, stop that.
Please
Just talk.
let me know.
Just talk.
How is this?
Okay, so the point is, were you so excited or are you downtrodden because of your two favorite tools not being in the playoffs anymore. This seems like less fodder for you.
I am thrilled. I posted on my Facebook page that it was the best day of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Knowing that the two of those guys were donezo.
So here's the thing is that the what's next for Aaron Rodgers is very fascinating considering all the BS he did in the last while and how much he turned his back on one of the most loyal fan bases in sports. And I think it's almost certain that he's on the way out of Green Bay. And that's interesting to speculate about because I do think Aaron Rodgers has another chapter left in him. And he's obviously one of the best players in the NFL. So where he goes is going to be huge in the league. The Tom Brady, I cannot listen. I've already heard 17 freaking interviews of him. I'm just going to take it day by day. When I'm ready, I'm going to be ready.
Maybe give him a sip of champagne.
Stop lying, beans. Tom. You're going to play forever. Tom Brady's not going to not play. He's not going to not play. He's not going to walk away. There's no chance he's going to walk away. I can't believe he's even promoting that illusion.
Well, he's got to keep his wife happy, and I think
I think that his wife was well aware that if Tom Brady was not in the NFL and other people that were in the NFL were performing at a worse level than he would be the most miserable person to live with on the earth. Tom Brady would do nothing but call every person he knows every Sunday being like, this bum's in the league, I should be in the league.
Well, I don't know. If Giselle is your wife, are you going to...
That's right. I guess you do whatever she says, right?
Are you going to say, all right, I'll retire? But never mind. I won't say what the deal would be. But
well, I think that she's pretty empowering of him.
Yeah.
I mean... She cast all her devil spells on him and made him immortal. So
he.
It's funny because people say, "Did you make a deal with the devil?" It's like, well, no, you just married
Giselle.
her. Yeah. That's mean. I think she's a wonderful person. I don't know.
She made some horrible comment I still hold against her.
Oh,
about,
really?
Eating donuts while pregnant. And not to do it, and I took it personally, and she's dead to me.
Okay.
Sorry. How's my voice? Is it good?
It sounds exactly like it always sounds.
No, this is my normal voice. Like Janice from Friends. I'm working on my voice. Okay, so speaking of Aaron Rodgers.
This is brutal.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he went on some podcast, as he always does, and said...
How many podcasts does this guy have? He does more podcasts than me. I feel like I never stop podcasting.
I don't know, but I don't know how he has time to practice football when he's doing podcasts. But he said the reason Packers fans turned against him was because of his vaccination status.
I think he was more speaking of fans just in general, NFL fans. I don't think Packers fans ever turned against him. I don't think Packers fans can turn against Packers. They're like the most loyal people on the earth.
Well, I think he's failing to realize what a jerk he was at the beginning of all the time.
Well, he's failing to realize what a jerk he is in life.
So
I mean, he has very little self-awareness. He's the most arrogant person in sports, and that's a profound statement.
So he wants to blame that on his I didn't like him prior to his vaccinations. I could care less about it. I mean,
sure.
I don't care. I hate that I don't like that he lied. I don't like that he tried to fool people. Right. And I also just think he's a big fat jerk.
You're preaching the choir on this one. I mean, I've been harping on this for years because our old buddy Ryan Tutel, the old co-host of this show, is the second biggest Packer fan in the world besides the owner of Missoula Broadcasting Company. Mm-hmm. And I brought this up 3 years ago to Ryan, before Aaron Rodgers had a man bun or before he broke up with 14 different starlets or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, Aaron Rodgers' body language on the sidelines is going to be the end of him in Green Bay. He is such a baby about everything, and you're making stuff up. You're making it up. I'm not, and here he is now.
Have you spoken to Ryan about this?
I haven't yet, nope. Mm-hmm. Our 10th anniversary at ESPN is next month, so Ryan will be making his illustrious return. I will be certain to make the segment half good stories from the past and half me roasting him about the Packers.
Oh, good.
Can't wait.
Good.
I can't imagine that Ryan, being someone that is very engaged in social justice and despite his hilarity and big personality, really doesn't like forwardly arrogant people. I can't imagine that this last season endeared Aaron Rodgers to Ryan very much either. Right. I bet that he's not very happy. I bet you Ryan's mother is appalled by Aaron Rodgers. My goodness. A
lot of mothers are appalled by Aaron Rodgers.
I bet. Chicken Doesn't Know Sports, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Good news here. You're listening to this on a Friday. You can also now catch the Chicken Doesn't Know Sports on Mondays. Very cool.
Do I get paid extra for this?
That's right. Well, you are the one that makes all the money around here. You're the one that brings all the money to the station.
Right.
You can do whatever you want at this point.
I'm giving myself a raise.
That's right. Chicken Doesn't Know Sports, proudly brought to you by the AC Hotel, downtown Missoula. What else you got?
Well, since we're talking about...
You don't even have your notebook or anything?
I know.
This is like off the cuff.
No, it's not. I've been thinking of it all week.
Oh, let's go.
Brittany Matthews.
No clue.
Patrick Mahomes. I can never...
Mahomes.
His fiance.
Okay.
when they won that amazing game that Kansas won that amazing game.
Yes.
She sprayed champagne from she's up in the box. She shook up champagne and sprayed it all over the crowd.
Okay.
People are very fired up about this.
Okay.
They called her privileged, and they're just giving her so much hate.
Why are people so annoying these days? Why is everybody gotta get upset about everything? Who cares?
I agree. People.
First of all, of course. Okay, so let's get this straight. Of course, she's privileged. Patrick Mahomes just signed a $500 million contract. Lady can do whatever she wants.
People were upset because the fans were down in the stands, and it was a cold game, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it was really cute and exciting, and it was a really fun game. Allegedly, I didn't watch it, but
it was one of the great games of my life, seriously.
I imagine the people that got sprayed by champagne from her were fine.
For sure.
Like, I think the only people that cared were people at home on Twitter.
God. What did we do? The fact that we created this platform that should be this entry point for so much great information, and it is, yet the common person uses it to do nothing but anonymously troll celebrities. Right. It's just wild to me.
Right. It reminds me of this time when I was in Chicago and Dennis Rodman came into a club and sprayed everyone with champagne.
And you loved it. You didn't think
None
he was privileged.
Cared.
You loved it.
We thought it was hilarious.
You told the story for your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's like, fine, I don't care. But I don't have a stick up my butt,
So Patrick Mahomes' wife is now entitled, okay.
So now she's getting all the
shocking news that the woman with a $50 million husband, amazing. Anyways.
I just think it really lets find a million things to get mad at.
Right.
But
totally.
I'm sure who did they play?
The Buffalo Bills.
I'm sure it's all Buffalo Bills fans.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Chicken Doesn't Know Sports, ESPN Radio. Listen to Nuanez now here on a Friday. What else you got?
Okay, so yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of our beloved Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
And all of the passengers of that helicopter.
Here's something crazy. You'll appreciate this as a mom. I think that, the older you get, the busier you get with work, the more your kids are growing up, the older they get. It seems like time is going so fast, right? Mm-hmm. When you think of that, though, doesn't that seem like ages ago?
It does.
So much about our lives and my specific life are totally different.
Right.
Like I had a whole different relationship, we had a whole different workplace. Like
that's true. We were in a different workplace.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You'd only been here for a little while.
A year, but yeah.
We had just started doing this though.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the first things we talked about. Crazy. See that makes time seem slow. That's good.
I'm still sad about it. I have to be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I think about it all the time.
For sure.
Anyway, so Stephen A. Smith, who is a radio personality commentator.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith's a longtime journalist. He first broke in as a print journalist in Philadelphia. He's very close with Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant went to high school in Philadelphia. So he was sort of the first guy to cover Kobe Bryant way back in the day. And then now, in his older and quote-unquote more successful age, he's become Screamin' A. Smith, where he just screams on the radio all the time.
Oh, okay.
Don't let me ever become like that, please.
I can't imagine you would.
Just be screaming in the studio by myself, it seems not.
I don't know. Yesterday you were telling me you might do that, but
true. But that would be not on air.
Right. Okay. So he did a little montage about Kobe, and he got a lot of hate for it because the montage was showcasing some players behaving badly and then saying, but that was not Kobe. For instance, like players that don't show up to preseason workouts, or players that, like a James Harden or whoever else I've talked about that are, behaving badly. And he was sort of dissing these other players. But what he was saying was like Kobe was all about basketball and championships and his family. And I felt like, I guess he was sort of dissing other players while he was doing it. But I think what he was saying was Kobe was loyal to his team and his family and his the game, and he didn't let all the other stuff get in the way. He wasn't just sitting out pouting, because he didn't like something going on with management or whatever.
Totally. It's a good point by Stephen A. Smith, but also sometimes circumstances are so favorable for certain people. Mm-hmm. Would Kobe have been unbelievably loyal to his franchise if he would have stayed with the Charlotte Hornets? Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets and then traded on draft day for Vlade Divac to the Los Angeles Lakers. It's a lot easier to be loyal to the Lakers when you're playing in Hollywood and you're playing for the most successful franchise in the NBA, and Shaq is your teammate, Phil Jackson's your coach, than it is to, if Kobe would have got stuck in the second smallest market in the NBA in Charlotte, I think they would have been pretty successful, but he would have been stuck. It was what happened to Chris Paul for the first 10 years of his career. He got stuck in Charlotte and New Orleans, and he was good enough to make the playoffs, but then he got this whole narrative around him that he can't win because he's trying to drag these low-class teams into the playoffs. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, yeah, Stephen A. Smith is, he knows Kobe more than almost anybody. So I trust most of his takes on Kobe.
You should watch it and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I can understand people feeling like it was distasteful. It was, the end. I think he was honoring Kobe and just saying this guy was at a different level.
Yes.
Mentally, emotionally. I mean,
Totally.
he got married at 19?
Yeah. That was the craziest part about Kobe Bryant is when he was 19 years old in his first All-Star appearance and they did an interview with him, he was 30.
Right, exactly.
It was so crazy.
They showed yesterday I was watching something and they were showing him in high school walking down the hall.
Yeah.
Right before he got drafted, and he looked exactly the same as he did, 10 years later, 15 years later. It was crazy. I was just oh my God. So he was always had that mentality, mature, I feel. I don't know.
Totally. No, absolutely. I mean, and there's a great analysis there, too, because he does come from such a multicultural background. The fact that he was the son of a former NBA player who then also played overseas, and the fact that he spent many of his formative years in Italy and was sort of romanticized by European culture, but then came back to the States and played his high school hoops, not at a crazy private school, but at Lower Merion, which is in the hood in Philly. So he just has such a unique background, right? He's this black guy who grows up in Europe, but then gets to also experience the real streets of Philadelphia, basically. And so I don't know. It's why he is a moment in time, all of himself.
Yeah.
I don't think that there ever will be someone like that again.
Mm-mm.
Even as LeBron was such a man child, but even when you look at LeBron's interviews for the first 4 or 5 years in the league, he's smart and articulate and stuff, but you're oh, that's a pretty mature 22-year-old.
Right.
When you listen to Kobe, you're that dude's 40. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
So. Kobe Bryant was a special person for sure, and it's too bad that the world lost him so soon.
Yeah.
Check it out on Sports, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television, coming to you on a Friday. What else you got?
I have two more quick stories. One is really quick. I just loved this headline.
Okay.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yep.
The Rams won on Saturday.
Talk about a guy that was so maligned. That he is such a great example of fit. When he was in New York, it was a train wreck because he was on every tabloid cover and the Giants sucked and he couldn't handle it. He goes to Cleveland, even worse. He hates his quarterback. Get me out of here. And now he finds a good spot in L.A. and boom, look at him. He's balling.
He's balling, and he's showing up after a win to some hot spot in L.A.
Sure.
He brings his own glass of wine.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that is my goal right there.
I
Just
can't
to be able to
imagine.
walk around with a glass of Camus or some fancy wine and just be like, hey, I'm here, guys. I do it in my neighborhood, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's beyond my comprehension. I don't even know how to imagine what it would be like to be a rich, famous, handsome pro athlete in a city like LA after you win a playoff game.
Right.
I mean, I just can't imagine how fun that would be.
Right.
It would just be unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
I think it actually ruins you for the rest of your life, though, because someday you're going to retire and be 40 and no one's going to care anymore.
Frankly, I think it would be better to be a rich, handsome athlete in Cleveland or a smaller whatever city, because LA everyone's hot.
True.
Be the hot person.
But Odell Beckham's so hot that he can be a hot person
Anywhere.
with the hot people.
He's hot in LA.
That's been his biggest Achilles heel. Has been that he is this pop culture phenomenon way beyond his football playing. I mean, he's like a trendsetter, There's so many dudes with the blonde mohawk now because of Odell Beckham.
Well, hopefully people will be walking around with glasses of wine now because he is starting this awesome trend. I love it. It
is pretty interesting, too, that athletes have so gravitated towards wine. I think it's a great testament to the...
antioxidants.
How do you say? Yeah, just sort of the vitality of wine.
Yes, that's why I packed.
Because these guys used to be drinking whiskey and smoking cigarettes, and their whole bodies were eroding, and now these guys are drinking wine, and they keep getting younger every second.
See, I'm telling you,
it's the secret.
Of youth.
Wow, maybe I should get on the wine.
Do it.
It gives me a headache.
Well, you're not doing it right then.
I guess.
All right, last story.
I would drink wine if I was that rich because I could just buy the really
good
expensive
stuff.
wine that didn't give me a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, my $10 bottles ain't going so
the
far.
Boda box. I know. I was actually thinking last night, I need to get.
You're like
no more Boda
fabulously wealthy. You should be.
Oh, yes,
you should at least be spending $20 on
I'm
bottles
so
of
wealthy.
wine.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, it's so easy to be really
I'm
wealthy when you
spend
have
my money
14
on
and 12-year-olds, right?
I'm going to spend my money on a voice coach.
Oh, gotta love it.
Okay, last story.
Okay.
Lamar Odom.
Oh, he's back.
He's back, baby. Not only is he going on Celebrity Big Brother.
Okay.
That's really not the story here. The story is he's launching a management company called Savvy Management Group.
Great.
He wants to help young basketballers not make the same mistakes he did.
I think that's great. I think Lamar Odom has as good of a perspective of that as anybody. Lamar Odom grew up with very little support at all in Long Island. I mean, the story of why he went to Rhode Island is because he's basically an orphan. I mean, there's the famous story of Lamar Odom didn't get his driver's license until he was in his late 20s because he didn't know how to drive because he'd been riding the subway to get himself everywhere since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Odom, he is one of the great examples of too much too soon. Like, there was that whole generation of the NBA before they changed the salary structure for rookies when guys were getting drafted out of high school. And some of them made it, like Kobe, and some of them just got absolutely crushed because they were 18 and they had no idea what to do with $25 million.
Right.
And Lamar Odom actually got crushed at first and then had this renaissance. He came back and then played for championship teams with the Lakers. I think that's great because I think he has better perspective than almost anybody.
I hope he's clean and sober and all of those things he needs to be to make this happen, because I agree with you. I have been saying this forever. He clearly listens to our show.
He does, absolutely.
And I mean, if he wants to hire me to be the mom, I will do that. But I want to cut. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But no, I think it's great if he's doing it for the right reasons. I have some concerns with him because he's had so many relapses and issues. Yeah. But I think he's broken free from that Kardashian curse.
I was going to say, there's one key factor here.
Yeah.
Is he dating a Kardashian anymore?
No.
Okay. He's good. He's in the clear. He escaped the rapture.
And he learned probably a lot from the ultimate manager, Kris Jenner.
Oh, my gosh.
Who has,
I still, to this day, no one has been able to explain to me why these people are famous.
There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason.
Unbelievable.
They can't do anything.
Well, they know how to make money somehow.
Yeah, I know. Maybe Kris should do an online course.
How to make money.
How to make money for doing nothing. I want to do nothing, okay?
Well, I think that we could make so much money if we had that much money to start with.
True. Who wants to give us some money?
It's so easy to make money if you have a ton of money. All you do is make production-based businesses.
Right.
Here's my Kim Kardashian cologne. We're going to make it for this and sell it for this. Boom, you're rich.
Yeah. Should we do a chick who doesn't know sports cologne? Smells like Boda box.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Carolyn, your voice techniques are getting better. Good job.
Is it soothing?
Oh, anything else?
That's it. Just wishing luck to the Discovery ski team this weekend.
Very nice.
Who will be racing at Bridger.
Nice.
The U14s and U12s, maybe
Yeah.
U16s.
Yeah.
Go, Nick.
Let's go, Nick.
Yeah.
It's going to be fast speeds up there. That course is wicked.
I am very nervous.
He shouldn't be.
Okay.
Your kid is fearless.
I know. He's good. He's a good skier.
Yeah, it's all good. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports is presented proudly by the AC Hotel. You want to go check out the AC Hotel? You can. You don't have to be staying there. Anybody and everybody can go there. Just head on downtown Missoula, and we'll send two of you, or one of you. Maybe you go by yourself and go twice. I don't know. We got 2 vouchers for you to go check out brunch down at the AC Hotel. Full spread of food as well as a couple mimosas for you. Call us right now, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Caller number 2, we got a pair of vouchers for you to the AC Hotel in downtown Missoula. Check out their bar and brunch. AC Hotel proudly presents Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports now on Fridays. Carolyn, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Gotta love it. Love every time Carolyn swings by. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. We haven't really even broken down the matchup. Cincinnati at Kansas City.
Let's go.
San Francisco at Los Angeles. NFL playoffs, championship Sunday. Nuanez now. Keep it right here, ESPN Radio.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, introducing the new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe on the road this winter, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything.
Mom? Mom? Hey, Mom.
Well, almost anything. Plus, save up to $130 when you buy Quatrac tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. See leschwab.com/sale for details.
Whether you're in the restaurant business or you just want to host any big event, J&V Restaurant Supply can make sure you have everything you need. J&V Restaurant Supply is your home for everything kitchen. Whether you're a bear or a bobcat, an eagle or a Scotty, J&V Restaurant has everything you might need. They have locations in Bozeman, Billings, and Great Falls. If you can't make it in, J&V also has a great website, jvrestaurant.com. Get everything you need for your next event at J&V, your restaurant specialists. Part of the glory of building a business comes from leaving a legacy to ensure your business continues thriving into the future. Have you asked yourself lately, what is your plan? Forming a personalized business succession plan is essential to know the passion you put into your business will carry on. Nick Tabor at Westpac Wealth is here to help you navigate all your business succession and retirement planning needs. Give Nick a call at 728-6699 and keep the spirit of possibility vibrant while making your future more tax efficient with a personalized business succession and retirement plan for you. Jake Dubeck knows people, and because of his gift of getting to know anyone he crosses paths with, Jake Dubeck understands what makes Montana so great. The Montanans. Whether you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the Helena area, Jake Dubeck should be your first call. Any questions you might have, from the accelerating Montana real estate market to knowledge of the neighborhoods in and around the capital city, if you're in the Helena area, call Jake Dubeck at 406-465-5506. Jake, proud supporter of the Montana State Minute with Danny Sprinkle.
In 20 years at an electric utility, I've seen the hardships many of our neighbors face with high winter heating bills.
Ross Holter, Flathead Electric Co-op.
That's why I donate to Energy Share Montana. I just hate the thought of senior citizens and young kids especially being cold in the winter. Donate to Energy Share. Help your neighbors stay warm.
To donate, call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Brought to you by Energy Share and this station.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Treasure State's Big Sky Conference basketball team stayed red hot on Thursday night. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. In the first Montana men's basketball game in Missoula since January 1st, the Grizz pounded Idaho 81-62. Sophomore Josh Bannon scored 18 points and grabbed 9 rebounds to boost UM to its 10th home victory in a row this season and 12th straight home win overall, dating back to last year. Montana's now 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 14-6 overall, and have won 6 of their last 7 games. UM hosts Eastern Washington on Saturday in Missoula, tip-off at 7 p.m. In Bozeman, Montana State continued its torrid tear, cutting out a 69-65 win over Eastern Washington. Jabril Bello had 15 points and 10 rebounds as MSU won for the 10th time in 11 outings and moved to 7-2 in Big Sky play, 15-5 overall. MSU has now won 6 games in a row, with Idaho coming to town. Saturday's action tips at 4 p.m. from Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Cheney, Montana State point guard Darian White scored 17 points and ripped 6 steals to help MSU roll to a 65-55 win over Eastern. The victory is MSU's 5th in the last 10 days and moves the Bobcat women to 7-2 in Big Sky Conference play, 11-8 overall. And finally, the Montana Lady Grizz are off this weekend. UM's game scheduled for Thursday at Idaho was postponed because of COVID issues in the Vandal program. And Saturday's contest in Cheney was also called off because of COVID issues with the Lady Grizz.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Selway Armory.
I'm greater than all MCs. When I breathe, give me room, please. I be like fascinating when I be updating, cutting off white kids, pulling their trump cards. I thump hard and make them say that I'm God. Be pretending they're hardcore. Never know the meaning of. But I get props like a slogan, and no man could ever try to diss when I kicks my jams. Lyrically deaf and connecting, complete mic record. No double checking, vocals kill like weapons. But if I have to...
What? You love it.
How do you not love that?
You can't. Nah, it's one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time. I love me some Gangstar here on a Friday. Dude, Guru, the MC, he's so underrated, man. How is he not mentioned more? Gangstar is sweet.
Because here's the thing about Gangstar. They filled a niche, and part of what happened is Premier overshadowed Guru.
Right.
So the DJ overshadowed the lyricist.
Right.
But what was the fallacy of Gangstar was they weren't pop.
Right.
So they weren't on the radio for people to understand how.
And then they had this crossover hit, though, so then they became kind of pop for a minute.
And then, you know, my steez, like all of that. I mean, people don't understand, like, if there was a body of hip-hop, Gangstar are the lower four ribs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just hold it together. Like, people just don't understand the importance of Gangstar.
Gotta love it. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. I'm Colter Nuanez, coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. Rajim Seabrook riding along with me.
Bonjour.
The Northwest Motorsport Studio is presented, of course, by Northwest Motorsports. Their anniversary. They're new to Missoula. They're new to Montana. You can find them at Stevens and Mount here in town. You can also check out largest inventory of trucks anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk some NFL first before we get to the matchups on Sunday. Brian Daboll, much anticipated that he would become an NFL head coach somewhere. He lands with your New York Giants. He was the hottest name on the open coaching market. You're rolling your eyes and sighing. Why?
The Giants have just not done well in the last 4 years. Since Eli retired, the Giants just have not done well up front office, coaching choices, just some really questionable draft picks, trades, free agents. And I just felt there was more homegrown talent within the organization that they could have culled from to bring about stability.
Okay.
What I worry about sometimes is too much, too new with too many young players can disrupt a nucleus.
Sure.
And defensively, if you watch the Giants, defensively, they were a good team. Their offense just put them in bad situations.
Sure.
And I'm not the biggest fan of the choice. I like the GM pick. I'm not too.
I think you're making it too complicated, though, man. Here's the thing. The New York Giants are not going to get...
Have you met me? Of course I'm making it complicated.
The Giants aren't going to get any better until they get better players, bro.
I hear you, man. I just
don't have enough good players, man.
Like, don't, man. You don't drive.
You got to be better on the lines, first and foremost. I mean, that's the thing. You got to be better on the lines. The Giants were so good on both lines forever. For
blue chip guys with nasty edges,
pretty much. And now they're not good on the lines. That's it.
I know, man.
That's why Saquon Barkley's just walking wounded all the time because they can't block for him.
Son. Anyway.
And Danny Dimes maybe wouldn't have fumbleitis if it wasn't for the fact that he gets so much pressure because their offensive line sucks.
Son, you don't draft first-round draft picks of quarterbacks that can play at Duke. You draft point guards, swingmen, and forwards. That's what you draft from Duke in the first round. We'll draft no quarterbacks.
We'll see how Brian Daboll does, but there are still some head coaching openings remaining in the NFL. But Nathaniel Hackett, former Green Bay offensive coordinator, hired in Denver today.
That's what I wanted.
Let the speculation run wild. The Packers OC going to Denver. The number one team that has been mentioned for the services of Aaron Rodgers, if and when he leaves the Green Bay Packers, has already been Denver, and now they hired the Packers OC. Is this a direct correlation, or is this a coincidence?
It's a coincidence that it's a correlation. It was just, I just
Great
think...
answer.
Tea leaves, man. You got to read those. And that's exactly what it was. I'm surprised that the move came so fast, especially after the heels of Sean Payton leaving New Orleans. I thought that...
We have not touched on that. Sean Payton retired in New Orleans earlier this week, so that's also a huge deal and an unexpected opening for one of the more solid franchises in the NFL.
Exactly, and I thought that was a quick choice given the dust didn't settle. And as we know, just because a coach retires from one team doesn't mean he's not available for another. So, I like the hire for Denver. I like the fact that it's totally going to segue A-Rod and possibly Devontae Adams over there. It'd be interesting because it's going to change the landscape of the league.
Championship Sunday descends upon us.
Yeah.
First up, Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship game for the first time since, I believe, 1982, maybe 1983. And,
were you even born?
No, I was not born until 1987. Here's a statistic that I heard, though. This is crazy. Hear me out here on this one, though. And this is not an example of anything but when we had the most captive audience on mass media. In other words, mass media has exponentially grown to the point where it is so far beyond reach. But because there's so many options, there's significantly less numbers of people that are watching and or consuming the exact same thing. What I'm getting at is, like, with the advent of cable television in like the early 1980s, but then the still dominance of the network television networks, cable made it so that everybody wanted to get a TV. Then everybody had a TV. But then the networks took advantage of that because they could show things to such giant audiences. The number one highest rated sporting event of all time, it's not the Olympics. It's not one of the craziest, most memorable Super Bowls. But in fact, it's the Super Bowl in 1982 when the Cincinnati Bengals played in it.
Against the Niners?
I believe against the San Francisco 49ers, the first of Joe Montana's 3 Super Bowl marches. Mm-hmm. But that was the highest rated sports program still to this day, ever. How crazy is that?
That's incredible.
85 million viewers.
Wow.
The final national rating, the Nielsen rating, a 73 share. It's 49.1. That's crazy, man. Like 85 million viewers. 50 to 55 million viewers still watch the Super Bowl. But think of that. There's 30 million less. But it's because now, even when the Super Bowl's on and most people's TVs are on it, a lot of people's TVs are not on it. Mm-hmm. It used to be if you turned on the TV, that was what was on TV, so everybody had to watch it. So a historic run so far for the Bengals. But now they go into one of the toughest places in the NFL to play against the Kansas City Chiefs, but also against a Chiefs team that's been in this position for the 4th year in a row. They are hosting the AFC Championship game in Kansas City, year number 4 in a row. It's funny because they had some drama this year because they stumbled out the gates. They were not good the first third or a third of the season about.
Easily.
And then they turned it on, had a 7-game winning streak, and then they kind of went up and down to close it out. They didn't get the 1 seed for the first time in a little while, but huge win last weekend over the Buffalo Bills, and now they're back in the AFC Championship game. I find this so compelling because the Chiefs are riding insane momentum after that win last week, but the Bengals are the most consistently hot team in the NFL. This is going to be some fireworks on
Oh, you stole my word, you thief. It's going to be sparks and fireworks and electricity all the way around. What I like about this is you have 2 very young quarterbacks who will be going head-to-head with their respective franchises for years to come. What I also like about this is it's 2 young defenses clicking at the right time. As you noted a few moments ago, Kansas City they were inconsistent for what Kansas City is despite their record. And defensively, the last 2 games to end the season and then last week's playoff game, despite Josh Allen's heroics, Kansas City's defense looks like they're playing downhill again. Flip it over to the other boys in the stripes. The Bengals are just young, raw, and don't give a rat's patootie. They're too young and don't care enough about anything else because of their youth. They're young, they're brash, they're bold, and they're ready to say, anoint this right now. So
that's the craziest part about it, though, is usually it takes an element of failure for guys to then be ready to be anointed, and that's what's so amazing about Joe Burrow. He seems so ready for this moment already. It was very much like I'm not comparing the talent levels, although I do think that are actually sort of comparable, but Joe Burrow is ready for anointment, so to speak, like Patrick Mahomes was.
Oh, absolutely.
Mahomes was ready-made. He was ready to roll.
He came in ready, born ready, going to be ready on any day that ends in Y. What I like about Joe Burrow is the altar boy with the switchblade in his pocket.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, hey, you heard it here first. Man, if I had social media, I'd be dangerous. But that's who Joe Burrow reminds me of. He's going to smile on your face, and then the minute you walk away, he's going to cut your Achilles tendon and then say, "Hey, let's go race." You know what I'm saying? So
no question.
I love this matchup. It's a foreshadow of years to come. And the AFC is just loaded for bear for years to come with great quarterback play, both young and only a few years into the league.
As hot as the Bengals are, as many dangerous options that they have on offense throughout their skill positions, do they really have a shot going into Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday? I mean, I guess at this point it's hard to say that.
Buddy, they're there.
Shot, right?
They're there.
Right?
They're there. Tom Brady ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like
Aaron Rodgers ain't.
Aaron Rodgers isn't. Like it's one of those things that you can't knock them out if they're still in it.
Totally. Interesting.
Let's go.
The other game is also setting up to be a slugfest or maybe a shootout. I don't really even know what to think of the Niners anymore in terms of trying to predict how they're going to win, but they've done nothing but win down the stretch. They are heading to Los Angeles to take on their NFC West rival, the Los Angeles Rams. We'll break down that game and get you all set up for the weekend. Right after this, keep it right here, ESPN Radio.
Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway & Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway & Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway & Miller today. Ryan, Holloway & Miller, your Montana attorneys. Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from Nuanez. Now I'm here with Brent Wahlberg of the Wahlberg team at Windermere Real Estate. And Brent, you guys have been the official realtors of Grizz Athletics for quite some time. What most do you like about supporting the Grizz in Missoula?
Born and raised here in Missoula. I grew up 2 blocks off campus. A lot of us Montana kids were growing up on weekends in the fall. You're out in the woods hunting. I was sitting in Dorm Blazer and then Washington Grizzly Stadium watching the Grizz. I grew up with Grizz in my blood. It's just a wonderful part of our community and happy to be a part of it.
Give the Wahlberg team a call today, 529-4663.
Florence Coffee Chai satisfies just right when the winter months come to Montana. Black tea with spices, steamed milk, and a touch of sweet combine into a soothing, full-bodied blend. Whether it's spiced, vanilla, chocolate, apple, or even no sugar-added vanilla, we have a chai waiting for you at any Florence Coffee location. And be sure to visit us at florencecoffeeco.com.
The best flavor under the big sky. Florence Coffee Company.
Do you remember how fond you were of your baseball cards as a kid? To recapture that feeling, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. Missoula's premier trading card shop carries all the products you will need for collecting, whether you are renewing an old hobby, just getting started, or looking for a fun activity for your kids. With inventory that is updated regularly, Zootown Sports Cards has the best selections at the best prices anywhere in the valley. Open from noon till 6 on Tuesday through Friday and 10 to 6 on Saturdays. Come check out Zootown Sports Cards at South Avenue in Higgins across from Dorn Blazer Field.
Now, the Montana Club's happy hour features BOGO beverages. Our expertly mixed cocktails, microbrews, domestics, and wine are buy one, get one free 7 days a week from 3 to 5:30. Stop in on Friday for Montini night. Sip on a top shelf martini for only $6, 5:30 to close. When you've worked hard all day and are ready to relax, the Montana Club has got you covered with BOGO happy hour 7 days a week, 3 to 5:30 on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Florence Coffee Chai satisfies just right when the winter months come to Montana. Black tea with spices, steamed milk, and a touch of sweet combine into a soothing, full-bodied blend. Whether it's spiced, vanilla, chocolate, apple, or even no sugar-added vanilla, we have a chai waiting for you at any Florence Coffee location. And be sure to visit us at florencecoffeeco.com.
The best flavor under the big sky. Florence Coffee Company.
It's Nuanez now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I hear the people say, I hear my people say, no weather, 4-letter, mo better. Slow pain, no gain, go get her. Change like the weather. Solid as a rock, small.
And Rajim says people don't understand the importance of De La Soul, so I turned the mics on. Rajim Seabrook in studio with me, Colter Nuanez, your weekly hip hop review. Also some sports talk radio
every now and again.
Why? Why is De La Soul more important than people know? I love me some De La Soul.
Me
You've
too.
actually got me way back into them since we've been kicking it every
so
week.
underrated. So, as with anything, I'll relate it to sports. Coaching trees, right?
Sure.
There's this one great coach, and then his assistants, and the branches off, the branches off, the branches off. Well, the same thing can be said in the hip-hop world. And when you look at who De La Soul brought along with them, or alongside, or they would feature, they branched off into some of the trees that are still bearing fruit in the hip-hop nation today. So if you take De La Soul out of the annals of history, you also have to remove now Tribe Called Quest, which would be a huge blow.
Yep.
You take away from the Jungle Brothers. You don't have Black Sheep. You don't have Chi Ali. Parts of Queen Latifah doesn't exist. You don't have Leaders of the New School, which gave us Busta Rhymes.
Wow.
So when you look at the hip-hop tree that De La Soul planet roots in, if you take them off the map, you take away a large chunk of hip-hop history.
You are a font of information, my friend. Love it. Love talking hip-hop with you. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope you have a great week. I'm happy it's Friday. I'm always happy it's every day. I mean, they all blur together. Weekends are the busiest time for us in sports, but that's why we love it. We get to go to events and go hang out and kick it, watch games. I'll be down at the Grizz hockey game tonight. I'll be down at the Grizz basketball game tomorrow night. And we'll have full coverage of all that for you. SkylineSportsMT.com over the weekend. Also have some coverage of Montana State against Idaho over in Bozeman as well. Got some photographers going over there as well. So should be fun. You can always follow along on Twitter too, at SkylineSportsMT. If you missed anything in this show, Nuanez Now, we have talked all the way around the world of sports. We heard from Josh Bannon from the Grizz basketball team after Montana's win over Idaho last night. Also heard from Colt Anderson, former Grizz All-American safety, as well as current assistant special teams coach for the Cincinnati Bengals as they get ready for the AFC Championship game. And we also talked some prep hoops, some more NFL. We also heard from our good friend Carolyn, the chick who doesn't know sports. All that can be found proudly on the Nuanez Now podcast, proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana, as well as Blackfoot Communications. All right, we broke down the AFC Championship game. The nightcap Sunday. San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams. I got it hanging in the rafters already. July 1st, I said the Rams are going to win the NFC. They are one win away. We are close.
That was 6 months ago. Almost 7.
We're close.
Come on, prophecy. Oh, Nunu over here.
What do you think of the matchup?
Nostradamus.
Gotta love it. What do you think of the matchup?
I love it. And what I love for it more than just a good basketball game, a good football game, because there are certain teams I love seeing in the playoffs, the Niners being one of them. I'm really happy for Matt Stafford. Like, for the guy who gave mind, body, and soul, rewrote the record books in Detroit, never really got his shine outside of the one playoff game him and Calvin Johnson made it to. And when you look at his numbers for how much he doesn't get in respect and accolades, he's almost like this generation's Dan Marino. I love the fact that he's in this NFC Championship game, and I'm hoping that the Rams pull it out. Plus, Cooper Kupp. You kidding me?
Are you kidding me? We haven't even talked about this.
Oh, that's a whole nother show.
So tell me this, though.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think's the NFL MVP this year? Because I think it's Kupp.
I think it's Cooper Kupp.
But it's not going to be Kupp, though.
No, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
God.
Yeah, I know. You want to barf in that bag first, or do you want me to go?
I just think that Tom Brady, T.J. Watt, Cooper Kupp all deserve the NFL MVP more than Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. I don't want to say anything. I like working here. I don't want Miss Becky to be like, you aren't allowed back in my building.
No, she is so out on Aaron Rodgers, it's not even possible. She wants him gone.
All right, then we cool. Bye.
If you're watching on TV, I have my picture of Whistling Straits, which is one of the famed golf courses in the United States. This picture is from the 2004 PGA Championship. The Ryder Cup was also here this year, but this is an homage because this is right outside Milwaukee. So it is sort of an homage and mourning to our great leader around here because she, huge Packer fan, so I told her I'd at least spice up the studio with a little Wisconsin action.
Scotty!
But what do you think of this matchup, though? Because the Niners, for as much as the talking heads all want to just blast Jimmy Garoppolo from start to finish, they play such a unique style. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. They have a couple of the best dirty work guys in football. I mean, there's no tougher trio of guys that touch the football than Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Kyle Juszczyk. Oh, by the way, the Niners also have a top 3 defensive front in the NFL, and they have multiple of the best players in the league on that side of the ball, too, including Nick Bosa, who is expected to be back in this game. I know Trent Williams, 50-50. Mm-hmm. He could be one of the best players in the NFL, though. I mean, he is one of the best players in the NFL. He might be the best player in the league when he's healthy. If he can play or not, that will be a factor for the Niners as well. But the Rams, they seem like a team of destiny. And so I'm kind of torn because I've been winning a bunch of money betting on the Niners as road dogs the last couple of weeks.
When are you going to let me borrow $1?
But it seems like the Rams are a team of destiny. I also had this bet since July 1st, so I don't even know where I'm rolling. What do you think of this matchup?
I like the matchup. What I fear is the Rams like to score quick and shiftily, and that beautiful run game, which I actually love watching out of the Niners, eats a lot into that clock. So it's gonna come down to a possession. I like the way the Niners are playing defense more to kind of combat the explosive nature of the Rams offense. Either which way, I'm putting my hat on the Rams, and I'm just looking forward to a good game. It's going to be a good game, and I always love it when a championship comes down to inter-conference rivals.
It's going to be a great game. I think that the other thing is that Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, they've gotten so much praise the last little while, deservedly so, but also the Rams defense has a lot more juice than people give it credit for.
Salty.
I mean, we got Aaron Donald. That's a pretty good start. But then, you add in guys. I mean, that's the thing is people were wondering, is Von Miller washed? If it's a one-game scenario, Von Miller is never washed unless he's dead. Like, he can get it going for the 40 pass rushes. He's got to give you his best effort on it in a playoff game.
He looks good.
He looks great.
Like, I mean, that was one of the best free pickups of all time on the defensive side of the ball, right when the Rams needed him the most as well.
I do think that both the road underdogs do have shots in Championship Sunday, but I'm rolling with the home favorites. I got the Chiefs versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. Boom, heard it here first. Right on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. What's going on, man? What are you doing this weekend? Anything fun?
Coaching a basketball game tonight.
Gotta love it. Get to go for Win 101.
Got the little Bulls. Yeah, man, I got a really nice plaque and pictures and all that for 100 wins for middle school stuff and, molding little minds. But just coaching and then some house cleaning and appraising some comics and watching football on Sunday.
Gotta love it. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. For Rod James Seabrook, I'm Coulter Nuanez. Have a great weekend.
Peace.
We'll be back on Monday, 4 p.m. Montana Basketball Hour. Also, Monday afternoon quarterback with Coach Marty. We'll see you then. ESPN Radio.
Grizz hockey is back this Friday against University of Providence. This will be the final home game of the year, and the team